Some residents have voiced deep concern about the pace and scale of residential, economical, and industrial development in Madison County. They worry that rapid growth could erode the county's rural character, strain infrastructure, and diminish the farmland and open spaces that define the community's identity. For these residents, questions about how much new growth the county can responsibly absorb are central to preserving the landscape, culture, and way of life that generations have valued. Others believe that continued growth is essential to expanding opportunity, strengthening the local economy, and ensuring long-term success.
How do you balance the perspectives of preservation and responsible growth?
Well, Madison County is unique in all the character that it has. You have, Richmond and Berea, two cities inside of it. And you have two colleges. You have high schools, middle schools, and elementary. And, as we look and see, it's really like a competition race. The cities has industrial parks and avenues is that way. It's taking up land. Then you got the county wanting to expand and go into industrial parks. And a lot of the land is being took away. We have in Madison County alone, you got the ordinance out there is over 15,000 acres that is limited to just federal use, which they lease out for farmers on cattle and stuff. But as we look and see the preservation of it is right now there's just, if you want to build a business, put it up, and let's have it, and it ain't being respectful to the farm owners, to the county residents that moves out in the county and expects to have a basic life instead of, I know there's people like living in cities, and but people likes living in county. When you begin the growth to just go up everywhere, you're confined in the boundaries of people in the county that likes the country living. And as their infrastructure, Madison County has the greatest infrastructure, I guess, in any county. We diverse from so many different things, car factories, different things as that, parts, making parts for cars, and as all the things that we have in the growth of Madison County. And I'd just like to see us preserve more, to look, we look and see and think we want to preserve buildings and, all the historical sites, but what about our farmlands? What about, the communities that kids play in and different things? We build bigger parks, and it's a sport complex and things like that actually takes away from a lot of kids that just likes getting out basically playing. And as we look at the infrastructure and we look at the preserving all the growth, Madison County has grown in leaps and bounds. I can remember when it wasn't but about 20,000 population. Now we're over 100,000 population. So as we look, the growth comes, and that's without even looking for it. The growth is going to come because the way Madison County is set up. It's close to Fayette County and surrounding areas that's got a lot of growth. But as we look to preserve, we need to look at, trying to slow down and look at our comprehensive plans that we have in place and bring it back around to exploding boundaries and put it into certain areas that it's designed for.
Do you believe there should be limits to growth in Madison County? And if so, what should those look like?
Yes, there should be limits to growth, because as we look, you've got the everything's about joining each other. You got the colleges, the city limits about joins Berea city limits. You got a little distance in between. But the thing of it is the restriction should be that if you got a business, it should be in business zones, and residential should be in residential. You got apartment buildings that they building everywhere, and it's just a lot of overgrowth really in certain areas. The roads, I know we'll get on that subject, but later, but you just look at, you can tell if you get out any time of day, the traffic is getting horrible. And we just need to look at confining areas to grow in that's better for that zone. And, you know, as we look and see the growth, as Richmond's growing, Brea's growing in the city boundaries, but it's also growing tremendous in the county boundaries. And if we don't get a control of it and try our best to slow it down some, then, you know, every house is going to be joining another house. And the thing of it is we see today, and I don't want to get off the topic, but it comes with it. With growth, you lessen wildlife, you lessen farmers being able to raise cattle. So beef markets, that's why today we pay high price for beef, is because there's lesser places to raise them than the farmers. It costs so much to keep all that going. So again, in the looking at the boundaries, is we do need to have specific places that we look at. I've been out as far as government work for 12 years, so the thing of it is I see it just anywhere somebody wants to build a house, they get it and build it, and it is truly overriding our systems that we have in place, whether it be water, electric, all the resources, fire protection, law enforcement. You know, it just puts more burden on all the offices that the county has. And, you know, I'd like to see us go back to the comprehensive plan and narrowing down to look and what's right for that community. Have the people's input, not someone dictating what they need to do. Come in, build a big subdivision without any planning with the neighbors around to give them their input.
What is your plan to stop residential development and preserve our farmlands?
To stop residential development is good. I don't want to stop anybody from building a home. But when we're doing it as a commercial, we're building it for people to come in all across America and out of America. You know, I think we need to look to try to get it back to, instead of a commercial business, to homeowners. You know, because if you buy a house and you got a 5-acre farm and there's farmland around it, then I'm not against anybody selling their land for making profit, but when you sell it to a developer and then they come in and build 150 houses on it, and you all at once you become interlocked inside of something you didn't want. And you know, as the boundaries is to bring it back, as looking is we need to protect the residents, what the people in Madison County want. We need to listen, have open ear. As a physical court member, that's what I do on that.
Would you use the government power of eminent domain to achieve your goals in office?
I'd never use eminent domain. I did once while I was in there before, and the only reason we did was a road was on a hillside, and it had big slippage, so the road slipped off. And the only way to open that road back up was to have eminent domain on not somebody's whole land, but just where the road was, that we could cut out the hillside and keep the road open so people could have access in and out. But there is some reasons you can do it, but far as to go out and develop, no, I wouldn't use my power for that, because I'd always listen to the constituents and make sure that they're in line with it.
A government of the people must be open in its actions and receptive to the perspectives of those it represents, in our case, the citizens of Madison County. Transparency and responsiveness are not optional. They are the foundation of public trust and effective leadership and fundamental to good governance.
How can elected officials prioritize the needs of the people over the needs of their donors?
Well, for one, I ain't out here asking for people's money to run my campaign. I'm funding it myself. Sure, I've had some give a little, but wasn't me asking. But it's mainly funded by me. And the reason is because anybody can build better government when you pass tax burdens on to the people. You know, I believe in conservative values. I believe that you should live within your means. You should balance the budget that you already have in front of you. But unfortunately, the body that's been in there has tried and has succeeded in 6 or 7 different taxes and fees. And, you know, I believe we ought to manage the growth of Madison County is going to take care of the needs as we look as a new home goes up. That's new revenue. A lot of the county has bought property which takes away from the tax base of the county. You know, as just saying, for instance, a family court, the county purchased it. Well, it was privately owned, so the county purchased with AOC, they paid for the contract. But then you collected taxes off of the business owners. Well, now you lose that tax base. So what you do, you go out and put more burden on everybody else instead of being smart in the growth. As I know it'd be nice as a county official to think, well, we don't have to let this money go other places, but we'd take it all to ourselves. But then in that scenario, you have you're taking the land, but you're cutting the taxpayers that own the land, that it's business people, and then you're passing it down to the residents, and then they have to pay more. And you know, I'm totally against taxes and fees. The county government is truly reliable for the people. We're not there to rule the people. We're to be a public servant for the people and to respond to their needs, not what their wants is. So I think the county government has lost its way in truly respectful the taxpayers of their fundamental rights, of truly being respectful of them, instead of being a business that rules. I've said this even before I decided to run. You know, asking somebody to give more taxes is like walking up somebody and grabbing their billfold and getting money out of it. You passed that burden and got that money without their approval. And therefore, you know, I'm totally against any new taxes. Well, you're a member of the fiscal court, and you know, as you represent, as I'm running for District 1, I represent District 1, but I can benefit with the whole county. But the thing of it is we've got to represent the people. It's their office, it's their seat. I'm just a servant to be there to try my best to manage the needs of all the constituents, to make sure that everybody's fairly represented. And, you know, I will not use as big value in money to win votes, to pass legislation that would support the donors. I truly believe in being a public servant for the poor as well as the people that's rich. I don't complain against the rich, I don't complain against the poor, but I'm there as an elected official to represent both. And, you know, without growth, a county would die or be stalemate. But with growth, it does come, but it comes with people living within the county, having children, getting education, then they want to build a house. So, growth automatically comes within. So as we look and see, I would represent the people in a fair way. What their concerns would be mine.
How do you plan to reach out to the public on important issues that come up in the next 4 years?
Well, I'd reach out by getting out and going into the neighborhoods as one-on-one. I would have meetings if need to in certain areas of my district. And I know this with meetings, a lot of times, you can have a big meeting and you probably have 5% of the people come out. So it's not a fair representation of the district. So I wouldn't base my decisions on just a small portion. I would be concerned with all the residents, and if it's a big decision that's affecting the area, before I'd vote on it, I would go out and find out what was going on.
Madison County faces significant maintenance and infrastructure needs. Responsible growth requires that essential systems be able to support increased demand, including improvements to roadways, mitigation of traffic congestion, and ensuring adequate response times for EMS and other emergency services.
How will you work with the State Road Department to get state roads within the county to be improved?
A thing that was when I was in there before, and I don't want to keep relating back to before, but we had a mutual aid agreement with the state, all the secondary state roads, the county maintenance. And that wasn't as we blacktopped them, but we done the brush cutting on the sides, we put covers in, and all their snow removal. And it brought in almost $1 million to the county. Well, it would cost probably around $400,000 of that money to maintain the state roads, the secondary state roads. And the rest we could use to hire employees and buy equipment to help not just in the state roads, but in the whole county in general. Our county roads has not been upgraded. All they do is put a scab of blacktop on them. They're never widened. As we growing, the county roads is still mainly a one-lane road. And you have school buses go down them. You have fire trucks. Now we got big, heavy fire trucks, and you have all that taking place. So I would work with legislators and try our best to look for grants and funding. I know there's already some that comes into the county, but it's up to the county to dictate where that money goes into certain areas. So I would look as the county is not, even though they want bigger growth, they're not planning for it. You look at the new bridges they build. Instead of them going building it for 2 lanes, they still building it for 1 lane. And therefore, they ain't expecting it to be growth. If I was wanting growth, if I was rebuilding a bridge, it'd cost a lot less to make it a 2. It wouldn't cost a lot less, it'd cost a little more, but not as much as it would if you had to go in there and tear it back down to make a 2 lanes. So I would be, if I was wanting to grow in our county, that would be one of my main concerns is widen our county roads. If you put a subdivision out here in a county neighborhood and then you got 150 homes on it and nothing's never done to widen the road, I would seek with the developers and I'd say, before y'all can build, this road has to be upgraded. There's avenues, but again, relating to the state is to speak to the legislators and have smart growth. If we don't have road structure, water supply, all the things that comes, fire protection, different things and avenues, why want bigger residential places? Because every time you do on these narrow roads, you have to stop, let somebody find you a place to stop if you can. Pull over in somebody's drive and let somebody pass by. That's not smart growth. Smart growth is to look and see the future plan. If we're going to be planning on the population increasing, we need to plan on the roads being widened and the bridges to be wider and to have it safe for the communities to drive around in.
Are there currently any plans to expand sewer services in Madison County?
Well, you got Madison County. I think the Madison County, or let me say the northern Madison County side that is growing, and then you got it towards Waco that is growing. So as far as me officially right now knowing that if there's any new projects, I don't know, but I'm sure it needs to be. They're putting a big subdivision out College Hill, so that's pretty much 7 more miles than where they probably previous has it. So I'm sure hopefully they planning to run sewer into that area because it'd be up on the hill and therefore it would be drainage down if it's a septic tank system. So, but I hope, and then you've got Southern Madison County Water Districts. You got 4 or 5 water districts, but if I was in there, I would be wanting to work with them to make sure they was trying to get grant money for extending their water services and different things that we have. But again, touching that subject on the water, I see some information now where we're running fiber optics in our water lines. And so I'm thinking, why would we do that? And, I don't know of any state in Kentucky or city, or maybe even in the country that does that, but Madison County's doing it, is running that to have more broadband. So why would we want to be putting things into our water system that we drink out of, we bath out of, and not knowing what reaction it can cause to the chemicals of chlorine and different things that they already have in water. And, I know they might, I don't have all the technology of it, but I just think it's a crazy idea to put things in people's drinking water.
What is your plan to improve and maintain the county roads? Will this plan support your planned growth of the county?
To plan the growth of the county roads is if we look at the budget, I know the county funds the jail budget, sheriff budget, and different areas like that. But if you look at the road department budget, it's about a $4 million budget, and that's counting the personnel, that's counting equipment, the leases they have, and all that. Very little bit of money gets spent actually on the county roads. And I would like to see if anything is advanced and added to would be the road department, because we need more road employees. We need ditch lines. One of the biggest complaints that I have with the constituents getting out and meeting them is the ditches are full, water's running over the road. So if you have that and water standing beside the roads all the time, you have it saturating, so therefore heavy vehicle comes across, it breaks the blacktop, then you back repairing. So I would like to see us look at the infrastructure of all the county roads, and I know we can't do them all 600 miles in 4 years, but we need a plan in the areas in each district and a lot amount of money for each district to spend to upgrade the roads, to improve, to make sure there's safe passage and safe traveling on. So I would work for that in my district, and I would work for the other magistrates in their districts to try to set aside extra money for the road department, because it's been neglected. If we look at it, I mean, it takes care of our parks, it takes care of different areas. So this ain't just going for road funding. We need personally just road funding, whether it be blacktop, clean ditches, or widen the roads. We need that in our county.
The current water system outside the cities is not designed to support firefighting needs. For example, there are no rated fire hydrants in Madison County. What plans do you have to improve the water system?
Well, the water system has boards, and the only thing the physical court can do is appoint board members to them districts, and some of them's every 2 year, 4 year, that I would look for people that are wanting to seek for grants, wanting to upgrade the water system, to protect the water system. You know, as we all know that, you know, water is the main supply of all of our being. If we don't have water, you know, it just dampers our life. And you know, it's good to have a clean shower. And a lot of people, there's still probably a few people still on wells and cisterns. So I would want to work with, you know, trying our best to upgrade our water system. And it's again like our roads. It takes more and more. And let me say this, the more we build in the county, the less water pressure you're going to have, because we ain't enlarging our pipes to get more water flow there. So, and there ain't no more new water towers going up that I know of. So therefore, the resources is still dwindling down to a small volume. And I would think that, you know, I would work with the water board and try my best to represent them on the physical court to seek for grant money